Good evening, you're now watching TVS Nightline and we begin with this story. Penalties for drunk driving, especially cases that result in fatal accidents, should be made more severe to create a stronger sense of deterrence among the public. The call was made by a minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Law and Institutional Reform, Dato Sri AZALINA of Said, who also believes current legal provisions are still too lenient compared to the severity of the offences committed.
AZALINA says as a legal practitioner, she views that public awareness to avoid committing offences sometimes needs to be reinforced through stricter and more appropriate legal penalties.
Memang saya tengok di segi undang-undang yang ada, hukuman memang agak kecil lah. Dia punya hukuman untuk RTA, road traffic. Saya dah cakap dulu masa kes bas tu, saya kata kena ada yang disebut sebagai corporate manslaughter sebab syarikat yang kendalikan bas. Tapi di segi individu kan menyebabkan kematian, undang-undang kita memang banyak yang ada. Tapi di segi hukuman mana? Tapi memang sebagai orang yang mengamal undang-undang dan memahami undang-undang, kadang-kadang rakyat ni kita kena undang-undang tu mungkin kena buat pindaan supaya undang-undang ni mengatakan ini kesalahan, itu denda. Kalau dia tengok denda tu rendah, dia rasa benda tu dia boleh bayar. Mungkin itu yang mesej dia. Mungkin kementerian yang berkenaan kena tengok kepada akta dia ada. Dia boleh pergi ke parlimen nak minta pindaan yang setimpal ke hukuman yang lebih berat.
Transport Minister Anthony Loke was previously reported as saying that his ministry is drafting further amendments to Section 44 of the 1987 Road Transport Act, which could require offenders to compensate victims' families, in addition to serving prison sentences. The last amendment, aimed at increasing penalties and fines, was made in 2020.
The Federal Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development weigh in on the prospect of working from home. As Minister Dato Sri Nancy Shukri says any such policy must be tailored to specific job roles rather than applied as a blanket rule. Nancy is calling for a more practical, flexible framework, especially for civil servants, to ensure government efficiency isn't sidelined by the shift toward a hybrid office.
Saya memberi komen saya kepada pihak dalam kabinet kerana ada juga ibu bapa yang menyatakan mereka sudah dia work from home ataupun dia work dari office pun dia ada mempunyai saluran ataupun route yang pergi ke kerja tu yang sama di mana dia mengantar anak dia pergi nursery nasional. Jadi saya mintalah kepada pihak kerajaan melalui saranan saya dalam kabinet supaya memberi tanggungjawab ini kepada pihak ketua jabatan supaya mereka dapat melihat bukan melihat kembali tetapi melihat siapa-siapa yang sesuai untuk work from home.
Nancy also underscores that a one-size-fits-all approach simply won't work for essential sectors, noting that fields like education and critical frontline services are not suitable for a full remote transition. She adds that the policy is currently in a monitoring and refinement phase. The goal, according to her, is to fine-tune the balance between employee flexibility and the high standard of public service the country relies on.
Department heads are being told to ensure staff working from home must strictly adhere to all government protocols while hitting their specific performance targets. Chief Secretary to the government, Tan Sri Shamsul Azri Abu Bakar, says this shift is in line with human capital development under the Public Service Reform Agenda, which emphasizes increased productivity.
BDR bukan bermaksud beli belah di pasar raya. Ia mesti mengikut peraturan dan tata cara yang telah ditetapkan. Output dan produktiviti mestilah sama. Oleh itu, ketua jabatan kena memastikan bagi sesiapa yang ingin melaksanakan BDR mempunyai KPI dan output yang telah ditetapkan.
Chief Secretary Shamsul Azri is also calling on civil servants to lead by example, demanding smart implementation and strict accountability for those working remotely. Following a mandate from Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim, departments are now under orders to adopt a rigorous culture of fiscal discipline and boosted productivity.
Using diesel in the Sarawak region is not optional. It's essential. due to the challenging geography and infrastructure. The state's transport minister, Dato Sri Lee Kim Shin, says Sarawak's vast size and limited connectivity in certain areas mean heavy reliance on diesel for land and river transport.
Dan diesel di Sarawak is not a luxury here. No? It is a basic necessity. Dan tambahan tua kita ni, Sarawak, barangan di Sarawak dah lebih mahal. Sebab apa? Sebab transportation logistic cost. Ya, misalnya long distance shipping cost ke Sarawak di sini, to limited supply chain, dan kita ada ni rural, ya, kita nak apa tu, ada barangan ke luar bandar, cabaran yang besar, rural distribution challenges. Jadi diesel ini membantu untuk kawal harga barangan keperluan.
He adds that high logistics costs are a major reason why goods in Sarawak are more expensive compared to West Malaysia. Therefore, diesel subsidies are seen as vital to prevent sudden spikes in prices, especially in rural areas.
Sarawak continues to invest in social infrastructure, with a new unit for other religions, Unifor Complex, set to become a key hub for interfaith engagement in the state. Deputy Premier Dr. Amar Douglas Uga Ambas says the 80 million ringgit project reflects the government's commitment to building facilities that support unity and inclusivity.
The complex, located along Jalan Ong Tiang Sui, features a 10-story building in the conference hall on a 3-acre site. It is designed to support programs and activities involving Sarawak's diverse religious communities. Oga says the facility will play an important role in strengthening social cohesion alongside the state's broader development agenda. The complex is scheduled to be officiated by Sarawak Premier Datuk Peninggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Apeng come April 26.
4 family members, including a biological mother, face a judge in a Taiping courtroom earlier today, charged with the murder of an 8-year-old girl. The suspects, identified as M. Savatri, her husband M. Satis Kumar, and the child's step-grandparents, remained quiet during the proceedings, only nodding to confirm they understood the gravity of the charges against them.
No plea was recorded as the case falls under the High Court's jurisdiction. They are accused of causing the death of a girl identified as Thanavita at a house in Damansungay Mas on the morning of March 26. The charge under Section 302 of the Penal Code, read together with Section 34, carries the death penalty of 30 to 40 years imprisonment and whipping upon conviction. The court has set May 15th for the next hearing as investigators await the results of DNA testing, forensic evidence and the final autopsy report.
Tensions in the Middle East is reaching a fever pitch as the U.S. and Israel intensify strikes against Iranian infrastructure, while Tehran warns of a crushing response. With a critical United Nations vote looming and the global energy supply hanging in the balance, here's a comprehensive look at the latest developments from across the region.
Iran is warning of a severe escalation as the UN authorizes military force to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says that any Security Council resolution favoring the aggressors will only complicate the crisis. This comes as the strategic waterway remains effectively closed, sending global energy prices to record highs. At the UN, a high-stakes vote to authorize defensive force and the strait has been postponed until at least later on Friday. The resolution, drafted by Bahrain, seeks to allow member states to use all necessary means to protect commercial shipping from Iranian attacks. Diplomatic sources say the delay stems from intense pushback by Russia and China over the language of military intervention. U.S. President Trump has signaled a major shift in strategy, warning that the U.S. has yet to begin destroying what's left in Iran. following a strike that brought down Iran's tallest bridge. The president posted that electric power plants are the next likely targets. Iranian officials have condemned the strikes on civilian infrastructure as moral collapse, reporting significant civilian casualties in the Karaj region. In Israel, the military is on high alert after identifying a fresh wave of ballistic missiles launched directly from Iranian territory. Air defense sirens sounded across central Israel and the Tel Aviv area as the Iron Dome and Arrow systems moved to intercept the incoming threats. The IDF confirmed that several missile commanders in western Iran were targeted in retaliatory strikes earlier today. The conflict escalated further as Kuwait and Bahrain faced sustained drone and missile attacks by Iran. Kuwait's military successfully intercepted several targets, though a drone strike on a national oil refinery sparked multiple fires. In Bahrain, home to the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet, sirens forced residents into safe zones 3 times throughout the night. Local authorities are also dismissing rumors of radiation leaks, assuring the public that monitoring systems remain within normal levels. The region remains incredibly volatile, as all signs point to a prolonged and protracted conflict that will surely have severe ramifications for the rest of the world.
Myanmar's parliament today elected junta chief Min Aung Hlaing as president, with the ex-military commander set to maintain his rule in a civilian guise after snatching power by force 5 years ago. The coup-leading general, who swept aside democracy in 2021, detaining elected figurehead Aung San Suu Kyi and dissolving her party, was anointed by pro-military MPs installed in a recent election overseen by the junta he leads.
စုဖွဲ့မှနိုင်ငံတော်သမ္မတလောင်းဗိုလ်ချုပ်မှူးကြီးမင်းအောင်လှိုင်ကထောက်ခံဆန္ဒမဲ429မဲတပ်မတော်သားလွှတ်တော်ကိုယ်စားလှယ်များစုဖွဲ့မှနိုင်ငံတော်သမ္မတလောင်းဦးညိုစောကထောက်ခံဆန္ဒမဲ126မဲရွေးကောက်ခံမြို့သားလွှတ်တော်ကိုယ်စားလှယ်များစုဖွဲ့မှနိုင်ငံတော်သမ္မတလောင်းဒေါ်နီနီအေးကထောက်ခံဆန္ဒမဲ29မဲရရှိပါတယ်
The vote on Friday across the upper and lower houses of parliament in the capital Naypyidaw saw Min Aung Hlaing secure a huge margin over the second-place candidate in a 3-person race. While junta touted parliament's reopening last month as a return of power to the people, analysts describe it as civilian window dressing intended to launder the military's continuing rule.
And those were the updates on TVS Nightline. Thanks for watching and have a good night.